Good morning, everyone. Today, I will narrate about the salient features of the equipment, tools, utensils, and materials used when preserving foods by sugar concentration through a video recording, assuming that I have a home-based sugar food preservation business. So, let's get started. Foods preserved by sugar concentrations are prepared like that in canning fruits. Its equipment, tools, utensils, and materials used are the same. Canning equipment or the tools you need to start canning. First, canning jars. Lids and rims canning jars, commonly known as mason jars, are created specifically for canning. They come in several standard sizes including quart, 4 cups, pint, 2 cups, half pint, 1 cup, and 4 O's, 1/2 cup. The most common brands today are Ball and Care. The size you choose will depend on what you're canning and how much you'll need to use at one time. I use half pints and 4 O's jars for canning jams and jellies. Pint jars for things like salsa and pie filling, and a mixture of pints and quarts for things like canned fruit. Important note: you can reuse jars and rims, but you should use a brand new lid every time you can something. Replacement lids can be purchased with or without extra rims. Second, water bath canner or a large pot with a lid and a rack. I use a large kettle that's made specifically for canning, known as a water bath canner, which will can pint jars. I bought it at Menards for about $30. As I recall, it came with a rack that fits 7 jars. I am able to can 4 O's half pint and pint jars with this canner. If you are not ready to buy a canner, you can simply use a large stock pot for small batch canning, like I did when I started out. In most cases, you'll be limited to canning 4 O's jars and half pint quantities, but it's great for learning. It's very important to have a rack in your canning pot. If your jars rest directly on the bottom of the pot, they can crack open. Third, jar lifter. While this is not technically required equipment, I'm putting the jar lifter in this section because it makes the process much easier, safer, and it generally costs less than $3. A jar lifter has a rounded end coated in rubber and will securely grab a mason jar when it's in the hot water so you can transfer it out of the canner without it slipping. You could get away these tongs with rubber bands around the edge, but having used both, I'd highly recommend investing in a jar lifter. You won't be sorry. Most of the other equipment you'll use for cooking is already in your kitchen. Fourth, Dutch oven or large stock pot. This is used for cooking the food that you will be canning. When it comes to this pot, bigger is better. Mine is an enameled cast iron Dutch oven, which is great because it's large, which means lots of surface area for recipes that require that the liquid evaporate. The cast iron heats more evenly than other types of metal, and the enamel cleans up really easy. Fifth, stir stick or chopstick. Before sealing your filled jars, you'll need to slide this little tool down the inside edges of the jar to get rid of little air bubbles. Chopstick will do the job. I use one of these stir sticks. The one on the left is a glass swizzle stick and the one on the right is Naked Lady drink stirrer that I brought back from a trip. Sixth, kitchen timer. Everybody has one. The hardest part is remembering to set it when you are supposed to. 7. Wooden spoon for mixing jam and jelly and stirring salsa. 8. Mixing bowls. Various sizes used for mixing ingredients and holding fruit while you cut peel, and such. 9. Sharp knives. I consistently use a paring knife and a chef's knife when I'm preparing food for canning. The paring knife is for cutting off bad parts of the fruit, peeling off skin and things like that. I use the chef's knife for quartering and chopping. 11. Tongs. When you're canning, tongs are like Superman fingers for reaching into hot places without getting burned. I keep them handy for taking lids off pots and reaching into hot jars to read just large pieces of fruit. Slotted spoon. This is handy particularly for canning whole pieces of fruit or tomatoes where you need the liquid to drain off. 13. Clean towels. Canning is messy. Wipe your hands. Place hot jars on them so the jars don't ruin your countertop. Clean up messes and so on. 14. Strainer and or cheesecloth. Useful particularly for making jelly when you need to strain seeds out of your mixture. 15. Ladle. For transferring food into your jars. 16. Oven mitts. Mine are connected in one long piece which is more handy than can imagine. When I'm canning, because I drop it in random places in the kitchen, if the two mitts were not connected, I'd never find them, but that's just me. 17. Canning funnel. This is not mandatory, but I would make a way. Bigger mess without it. 18. Food mill or food processor. Nice to have on hand for some recipes. And that's all. Thank you.